UTS Consulting Club presents the Mini Case Series, a mini crash course to equip CaseCom newbies with the basics to case competitions. Welcome to Episode 1, Understanding the Case. This is the first episode of the 5-episode Mini Crash Case Series. You can find our other episodes on our Mini Case Series webpage on the UTS Consulting Club website. So let's get started with understanding the case. When first getting the case, it may seem daunting at first as to where to start. However, by starting with these 3 steps, you will be more informed on the issue you are trying to solve. First, read the case. Once you've read the case, you will then want to understand the internal and external environment. Your first step is to read the case. As you read the case, highlight important information and circle particular terminology or concepts you're unfamiliar with and will research later. Write key takeaways from the given data. Ask yourself, why did they provide you this piece of data, whether that be in a graph or in a table? Write down the key takeaways from this information. Lastly, write down the case deliverables. This is what the case is asking you to do. Step 2. Understand the internal environment. The internal environment are all the things and factors within the company, or within the group of people whose problem you're trying to solve. Aspects to help you understand the internal environment of the case include, but are not limited to, are the user journey, the aims, pains and gains of the client or user you're trying to help, and the business model. Let's take a deeper look at the user journey. For most case comps, the case you'll be given would be a real problem the company hosting the competition is currently consulting on, or already has. Assuming you are taking on the role of the consulting firm, it is important you fully understand the user or the individuals at the center of the case. Put yourself in the shoes of the user and map out their journey. For example, if you're doing a case on bushfire relief and looking at how charities can better assist in bushfire recovery, what are their current processes or how are they currently undertaking their daily operations? This will help you understand their experiences and better understand the problem they are facing. Identifying aims, pains and gains. By identifying aims, pains and gains of the people being impacted by the problem, this will help guide you in coming up with a solution that addresses their needs. The aims includes the organization's goals and their key values. For example, the case company aims to expand their outreach program nationally in Australia as one of their goals. Or one of their key values could be financial literacy. This will help you guide your solution and make sure it lines up with their goals and their values. Pains and gains include the difficulties being experienced by the users affected by the problem and anything that would help them benefit. The business model. To be informed about the feasibility and implementation of your solution, it's helpful to have a basic understanding of the business model of the organization or the people at the center of the case. Things to consider here include the sources of revenue to the organization. For example, how is revenue coming into the organization? Are partnerships, advertising or grants other revenue streams? It's worth having a look at their value proposition, labor capital and financial resources, and any partners and networks that can be utilized. Knowing these will inform you in coming up with a solution that is realistically feasible and within the capacity of the client. Step 3 involves understanding the external environment. The external environment includes the influencing factors outside the organization's control. This includes looking at market or industry trends, competitors, technical concepts, and any social, political, and legal factors. Market and industry trends. Things to consider when looking at the market can involve the market position of the organization, where applicable, industry trends, for example, digitalization has increased by 40% in the fast food industry, or economic conditions. Are there any economic factors that may be influencing the behavior or spending of your identified group? For example, COVID reducing discretionary spending of consumers. Moving on to competitors. It can be helpful to understand what similar organizations, businesses, or governments are doing who have a similar scope to your problem. Using a SWOT analysis of your competitors can help guide your solution creation, helping to identify any opportunities and to capitalize on any strengths. as well as seeing any weaknesses and any threats that can come to your client. Technical concepts. Often most case competitions have a particular scope or subject focus, whether it be something such as technology or the industry of microfinancing, just to name a few examples. For new terminology, processes, or concepts, make sure you take the time to research them and understand what they are. This will help you come up with a more applicable solution that truly meets the needs of the user and ensures you actually understand the problem scope. Social, legal, and political factors. Social, legal, and political factors are all important overarching factors that impact the case's company and who you are helping to consult. Take COVID, for example. COVID has an economic and social influence, but the legal regulation on the limit of the number of patrons at a restaurant or business will be influential to the regular operations of the company or the group of people you are consulting on. Politically, policies by the government may impact particular industries in the long run. It's worth considering these external factors and how it will shape your solution. To summarize this episode, when you first begin a case, remember to first read the case, highlighting key information, and circling unfamiliar concepts for you to go back and research. Once you've done this, remember to write down the key deliverables and circulate this around to your team. Once you've done that, try to understand the internal environment, looking at the user journey, aims, pains and gains, and the business model. To gain a broader picture, understand the problem at hand, understand the external environment, things such as industry and market trends, competitors, technical concepts, and any relevant social, political, and legal factors. This concludes episode 1, Understanding the Case. Thanks for listening and keep listening for episode 2, Defining Your Problem.